Greetings and welcome back to another segment on Inspired Messages. And in today's segment, we are going to be discussing how to live by the phases of the moon. So let's dive in. The moon has been in existence way before we were here, and it will continue to exist. We are often told or we hear that we should stay away from magic. We should stay away from the occult, to stay away from the supernatural. But if we look within ourselves, we are magical beings. Everything about us is magical. Our bodies are functioning without our control. Isn't that magic? When we cook, we mix different ingredients. That's magic. When we bake, we mix different ingredients. That is magic. We take material and create things. Everything is magical. But because we've been told to stay away from this moon magic, we don't understand that everything is tied in together. It is all as above, so below. And so we must comprehend that the moon is part of us because it controls, or it has an effect on us, just as it has an effect on the tides of the waves. And so it also has an effect on when crops grow, and this is how the farmers know when to plant, when to prune, when to harvest. And so, yes, we must live by the phases of the moon. And in order for us to do that, we have to come to the comprehension of what the phases of the moon are and how we can utilize each phase to assist us in manifesting, or to either manifest what we need or to dissolve what no longer serves us. Keep in mind that we're so disconnected from reality because we have replaced nature with technology. And technology has and continues to pull us further and further away from our innate nature, our true selves. And so this is why it is important that we reconnect with nature, and thus reconnecting with the phases of the moon. So let's talk about the moon for a little bit. It takes approximately 29.5 days from the new moon to the full moon. And the moon spends about 2.5 days in each zodiac sign. The moon has 8 phases, 4 phases in the waxing half, and 4 phases in the waning half. And the waxing half is when the moon is building, and the waning half is when the moon is releasing. So that waxing phase is the yang energy, which is the active energy, or the male aspect of the moon. And the yin is the receptive or the feminine aspect of the moon. Let's dive into the phases. The first phase of the moon is the new moon. During the new moon, this energy is yang energy. And remember, there are 4 phases in the waxing half and 4 phases in the waning half. So the new moon is yang energy. This is the male energy. This is the dark. This is when the moon is really dark. And during this phase of the moon, it is good for planning, for beginning, for setting new intentions. This phase of the moon involves body work, and the action that should be taken here is to plant your seeds and to plan and initiate. The second phase of the moon, which is the waning crescent, is yin energy. This is the phase of the moon that is meant for mind work. During this time, it is time to develop, to protect, to sustain the new intention. This is the time to recite affirmations. What is it that you want to achieve? What outlook do you want from the plants that you sowed during the first phase of the moon? This phase is about attitude, energy, focus, and expansion because the moon is waning. The third phase of the moon is the first quarter moon. This phase of the moon is yang energy. It is active. In this phase, it is time to organize, to form. In this phase of the moon, a lot of times there may appear to be challenges may appear. And so because challenges appear, a lot of times we know whenever a challenge appears, a lot of times people tend to deviate from what it is that they want to achieve because the challenge may become so difficult. But when the challenges arrive, this is when we should stick to what is it that we want. This is the time to be resilient. And if you feel blocked, a good thing to do would be body movements, would be stretching, yoga, and this will help to release that blocked energy so that you have the feeling to move forward. The fourth phase of the moon is the gibbous moon, and this is the waxing gibbous. And this phase of the moon occurs 3 days before the full moon. During this time, this is a good time to review, to refine, to reinforce your intentions. During this phase, a good thing to do is sit down and visualize the outcome of what you want to see. This is a time to just imagine or picture yourself doing what it is that you intend on doing, or just visualize everything taking place. This is the time to do that during the gibbous moon. And in doing so, it will bring more energy because the full moon is right around in a couple of days, so that when the full moon is presented, which is the fifth phase, you are celebrating because the phase is in the phase of illumination, and so you're celebrating your manifestation. And this celebration should take place whether your intentions manifested or didn't manifest, because it'll give you an idea, or to give you an outlook on what it is that hindered you from manifesting your intentions, the intentions that you set. So this is a good time during the full moon. If your intention, or if your seed did not bloom, or if your whatever it is that you wanted to manifest didn't manifest, this is a good time to analyze your previous phases so that you get a clear view of what it is that you have to correct and or change and or omit or release, so that you are able to move forward in the next phase of the new moon, so that you plant new intentions with those corrections and or additions. So during the full moon, this is a good time to practice self-love, to sing, because song gives voice to the spirit. The sixth phase of the moon, which is the waning gibbous, this is when the moon is disseminating or becoming smaller. During this moon, it is yin energy. And during this phase, it is a good time again. You continue reviewing reviewing and removing what no longer serves you. During this phase, it is a good time, probably if you have friends, especially women. We know we love to discuss things with our friends. Share your experiences or experience with your friend. And this is a good time also in sharing your experience. You'll be teaching others through your experience. And this is a time for healing. This is a time to exercise. This is a time to engage in your physical energy. So again, you're continuing to prepare for the new moon so that you are doing a total revision of what was done before so that manifestation can take place. The 7th stage of the moon is the last quarter moon, which is yang energy. This is the time, if your intentions, if your seed manifested, this is a time that you're reaping. This is a time of completion. This is a time to again take closing action because you're preparing to start a new cycle. This is the time for you to think about the corrections that need to be made. This is the time for you to rest so that you evolve. You're releasing habits that no longer serve you. You're realigning and you're cleansing. This is a good time also to think about the new habits that you want to integrate or implement. What are the new ideas or the new thoughts or the new ways of even speaking, your self-talk? What are you going to do differently during this new cycle that is going to begin? So that's the last quarter moon. And the waning crescent, which is the 8th phase of the moon, is also called the balsamic moon. And this phase occurs 72 hours before the new moon. So during this time, it is time to withdraw from the outer world. This is a time for meditation. This is a time for breath work. This is a time to pay attention to your dreams. This is a good time to also self-reflect. Another thing you can probably do is ask your inner voice, speak to yourself and ask your inner voice for clarity. Another good thing to do is drumming. Drumming would be beneficial during this time so that it clears your head. This phase is also in transition of one cycle to the beginning of the new cycle that is going to take place in the next 72 hours. And so you have the ending and the beginning. And so again, this is time to let go, to become still, and to meditate. Our ancestors followed the moon cycles as they knew that the moon played a very important part of their lives. The moon, it is a representation of your personality, of your emotions, of your mental projections, and the way you think. The moon is also a representation of your unconscious habits, your moods, that gut feeling. When you have that strong intuition about something, that is that moon energy. And it has the capacity to help you build or nurture anything. For example, your relationships, your career, finances, anything that is taking place in your life. That moon energy is there for you, and it's there for me, and it's there for us. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to share the link. And until next time, love, power, and magic.